They got it bad. They were the nicest fans when they came to Tallahassee, so I don't, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
I couldn't resist, John.
No, John Tracy, Hamilton Cooking. We ready?
It says, we are live streaming, but it didn't pop up there, but we are live streaming.
Are we unmuted?
We are unmuted, yes.
All right, we'll call the Children's Services Council of Leon County, the joint meeting of the Executive Committee and the Finance and Budget Committee on Friday, 7th, 2025 at 10:35. Here's our CSC Leon office. First of all, we'll start with the roll call. For that, we called our meeting to order.
Miss Allie Richards. Here. Mr. Brent Johnson.
Here.
Superintendent Rocky Hanna.
Here.
Mr. Terrence Watts. Treasurer Mitchell.
Here.
Chairman Jones.
Yes.
You have a quorum.
All right, then, thank you. Is there any, first of all, is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'll move the agenda. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. You have a notice up there? Colleen?
There's a notice.
All those in favor of the, it passes. All right. Is there any general public comment?
There is no general public comment, sir.
Seeing none, we will now move into our banking update. Ms. Madam Director.
Yes, so we sent out to you information regarding our banking update. Number one was a proposal that we received from Survey First on page 3, and then number 2 is a draft RFQ for banking services. I did have a chance to speak with our general counsel regarding this after the executive committee meeting, and upon his advice, we did convert the RFI to an RFQ. The one that is in your packet that you received today is the most updated version. We had just a change or two we made upon recommendation of the chair and the treasurer.
Executive. So I'm sure.
Okay. What General Counsel Rowe did for us was have the team reach out to several financial institutions just to get some very basic information, term sheets, fees, those types of things. We did receive one proposal from an entity, Service First, and we provided that to you. But some of the other institutions that he contacted or that their office contacted said that they would be more apt to reply to a formal request for quotes. So with that, we changed the RFI to a request for quotes. We included that to you all last night, and it is here in your packet. And there is also a draft timeline of how the RFQ would unfold. So the expectation, if you decide to go with the RFQ, would be this joint committee would decide who would be the reviewers of the RFQ. Staff's recommendation is members of the Finance and Budget Committee. We will receive those RFQs by the deadline in the document. We will vet them to ensure that they have met all of the requested information from the RFQ, and we will provide those to each of the committee members. You will have the opportunity to review them and determine how you recommend which one for the council. And at the December 10th Finance and Budget Committee meeting, you will bring your reviews back and have discussion. At that time, that meeting is led by the chair, which would be Treasurer Mitchell. You will decide how you want to present that information to the council. If you want to recommend one or several and let the council decide, that will be up to you. The thought would be we would present whatever the committee decides at the December 18th council meeting. And once that decision is made, staff will reach out to that entity and move forward with the processes of closing our accounts at Prime Meridian and opening accounts with the new banking entity. Mr. Chair, that's the overview.
Well, I too, we all received the information. One particular bank I'm sure they would have to resubmit once our
Yes.
RFQ goes out
Yes.
to meet whatever expectations are outlined therein. Committee members, we have a RFQ for our consideration. Any discussion? We'll start with, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, I want to make sure I get this name right. Holly, I know Alex Quarter with Service First Quarter. Thank you, Service First, for responding. I mean, that's a good sign. And for those who will respond to the RFQ, that is hopefully coming out as soon as we finish our business here today. I thank them in advance. The RFQ looks great. I think you did a nice job. I tip my hat to you, Sika, and Holly for putting it together. And just as a fiduciary, it makes me feel good to see, again, a focus on what does this mean financially to us as the CSC? What are we getting in return? So I thank you for that. I only have one question. Sika, the closing date, and I'm going to mess up the name of the credit union, whatever Prime Meridian is going to be called. What is the closing date for that merger when the credit union acquires Prime Meridian? Do you know?
The only information I have is that it's to happen during the first quarter of 2026. The information that I received from the Vice President, Mary Stafford, in it was October, was that our accounts needed to be liquidated or removed by mid-December. At that time, she did not give a date. Upon further inquiry, she was not able to give a date. My understanding is we will receive a letter. I have no idea when it will be sent or received.
Well, it seems to me that the timing, as long as there's no hiccups, and I can't imagine for something as simple as this there would be, but that the timing will work out nicely if our full council meeting is on December 18th. That is certainly in the middle of the month, and we can have all the funds moved on the 19th and still meet before the beginning of the first quarter of 2026. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I have just two quick considerations for edit to the RFQ. The first one would be, I know we made comment in there about asking for information about their treasury, but management or customer relationship services, probably both. But is there any required minimum balance that the entity would require us to have so that we could be afforded those treasury management services or any sweep associated with that? The second one, and this may need some help from Mr. Mitchell. I was just wanting to make sure we got a representation from any proposer or quoter about whether or not they had ever been subject to any disciplinary actions. Would that be of OFR? Or is it covered under the Q?
The QPD, right. Treasury would not be able to do business with them if they had been.
Okay, so that may not be necessary.
That's a great one.
The second one, Mr. Chairman, is really just, so I think when Sika was providing her overview, she was referring that there was some outreach made to certain financial institutions. Coordinating that, and what criteria are they using to reach out to financial institutions?
So it was, when General Counsel and I were talking, he offered to have one of their team members just do a reach out. So we provided the 4 entities that had contacted us, and they reached out to a couple more things. They were just getting term sheets and basic information. It really didn't get that much information. And so we can include those to get this RFQ. But we didn't get enough information back to even make it worth providing other than this proposal.
We got a reaction that we got someone to
You got
submit
one.
something, and then it just made me think through, and it's been a while since I've been deep in the RFQ or procurement world, but at some point you cross a line where you enter into a blackout period. And so I want to know, for protection of us, who's contacting what potential respondents, and letting us know there's a blackout period that we need to be complying with. If someone was to reach out to one of us and ask questions about what you're looking for.
So when the RFQ is issued, immediately after this meeting, that starts what we call a cone of silence.
Right.
So if any institution, representative of institution, formal or informal, contacts any member of this council, they need to be directed to Holly McPhail, who's our procurement manager. And that goes for it. Yeah, so that cone of silence.
My last piece on that then is we did some informal reach out. Have we given any, competitive advantage to them? Are we gonna do any outreach greater than just publish an RFQ on our website like we would any other procurement? Other than we've already done a little bit?
Nothing other than we will notify them that the RFQ has been decided. So there's a notification that goes out. But after that, we'll do no further contact or conversation.
And
Unless they have questions. I mean, if they have questions.
And then also add,
Yes, right. Yeah. So we less just before. Right.
let me also add, ever since we started this conversation, there has been natural inquiry because our meeting is public. So once we started the conversation about what would be our relationship, continued relationship as Prime Meridian was making its change, we started that conversation and I may have been even in the general meeting. So once that happened, then any one of us could have got the phone calls and have, right? We don't know yet. Over the lapse of time. So here now in this formal context, here now we provide that protection. Now, we've also had the discussion of whether or not we want to do it as a sole source, right? And just make inquiries, right? We thought that this more formal process, because of the nature of the CSC and the nature of our financial stewardship, we needed a formal process to do it so that it would, in that formal process, it would be more concrete, more
Arm's length transaction.
arm's length transaction. That's what we agree. So that's why with that, that's why we decided to for this and the city council from Attorney Rowe as will be the best instrument or procurement option, whether it's RFI, RFQ, RFP. And so with that advice, that's why we're now looking at what we have before us now for our consideration. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, Richard, I'm sorry.
I believe that we just answered my question, but we informally reached out to them. We informally reached out to a few banks. They sent the most.
There was one that
Proposal.
sent
Okay.
an actual proposal.
Okay, that was it.
And I'm sorry, and for the record, this proposal goes to.
Yeah, if they would have to resubmit.
So we sent something out informally. This bank is the only one that responded. Now we're gonna send it out.
We didn't send anything out, just made a phone call.
Okay, well, informally, we contacted X number of banks, Capital City, Centennial, whoever y'all contacted. This one responded and said something. Now we're gonna send something more formal out to request other institutions that may be willing to submit qualifications. And then you're gonna make a determination or a recommendation to us in December. How are we gonna decide?
So what, as she described, they will screen the application, make sure they meet the minimum qualifications.
And then this group meets again
And then this group will be.
before the 8th.
We meet on our regular meeting of Sunday.
I got it.
And then based upon those response,
Then we'll bring a recommendation
to the full board.
All right.
And we'll decide at that time whether or not we should provide them with one or a ranking of them. I hope we would just choose one. We make that recommendation on both. But we'll make that decision at the time we could receive our application.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, most of our money is invested in.
Yeah.
FL plan.
FL class, this is just pay the bills, so it's probably just a matter of who charges the least amount of fees, we're not. trying-
Oh, no, there's $800,000 as a daily balance, so it's the interest rate. We will get one. Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just so superintendent, when the request for information was contemplated, it was before Prime Meridian had noticed the public that they were going through this merger and would not be a QPD. So regardless, though, we were sort of ahead of the game, wanting to do some sort of procurement process. We may have ended up with a Prime Meridian, assuming they didn't, they weren't a non-qualified public depository. So we were a little bit ahead with an RFI, scrapping the RFI because that's information so that we could make an intelligent decision. We kick in the RFQ. Mr. Rowe, and so when that happened, I can't remember what meeting it was, suddenly, people started talking and it's like, oh, round up the usual suspects. Hey, I hear you guys are going out looking for banking services. Yeah. Look for the RFI. Some contacted staff and, it was look for the RFI. Well, Holly and Dina kept a list of those people. It's my understanding that you reached out to say, in addition to others, but hey, we're interested. You got some proposals, and Alex Corder was the only one who replied, but it really wasn't formal. From a procurement standpoint, Mr. Rowe, a RFQ, does a cone of silence exist in an RFQ?
This is drafted so that it has.
Right, but the standard RFQ, is there I don't think there is. I think the state procurement laws say that there isn't. It doesn't bother me one way or another, but if somebody comes and says, there's no influence that can be applied to us. I mean, other than every one of the ones who have called, I'm gonna piss off a lot of friends and only make one happy. That's with whatever decision I make. So it probably is a good protection,
Just
but
tell your friends you only have one vote.
yeah, which one are you bringing to, as your date to the dance? I got you. All right.
Yes, sir.
And last question, do we have anything in our bylaws, how often we have to go through this process? So if Prime Meridian wasn't merging, we never would have done anything.
No, we would have.
I know that, so do we have like every 5 years or every?
I don't think that's a bad idea to.
Like with FL class, do we have anything with FL class that we?
Nope, it is sort of the will of the council. And again, I think part of the reason that I started to get a little anxious, not that Prime Meridian but they were performing perfectly fine, but that we didn't know how others could perform. I think it's a healthy thing to go through it. And in the FL class, I wasn't part of that procurement, but in that, when Liza McFadden shared that, Dina, was there a term? Okay.
And one of the things that I would hope, we could do it by policy, or we can do it by the will of the finance committee to start the process based upon what we would see as economic trends. Right, when we know that it's a right time to make that consideration, we would decide then. And I don't know, perhaps with the formality of a requirement in policy, that requirement in terms of a particular calendar time might not be in our best interest to procure those services again, but based upon what we see as trends and expertise found on the finance committee, we can make those decisions. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and then, Mr. Chair, just for FL class, just so that everyone understands, after the RFI process, it was determined that FL class was created specifically for government. And so we did not move forward with any kind of ITN or procurement because we could invest with them and get the highest return without any problem. So I just want to make sure that it's very clear that we did not procure for that at all.
I just want to make sure I understand. We will receive at the next finance and committee meeting, because the finance and committee meeting committee decides this. We'll receive a list of all the applicants for that RFQ. No,
You will receive all of the applicants,
Responses.
the responses after we vet them, right after the deadline for the RFQ.
Which is the
Because when you-
21st.
When
okay,
you come to the next finance and budget committee meeting on
Yes, yes,
December 10th, you will make a discuss.
and recommend it.
So, it,
Will
you'll
uh,
have them.
will staff be making a recommendation?
No,
It'll just be screening.
Okay.
That's all they'll do. They'll just screen it for their, to make sure that every, that proposal that we receive is qualified.
So the 21st is a what day?
Friday.
Of course. Okay, so come Monday, the 24th, you will have had, hopefully, it's gonna be 100. So they'll have a chance to go through, evaluate who qualifies, who doesn't, and then we'll send each of us a packet that we can
Perfect.
then come prepared on the test we discuss. And there's no scoring rubric. It's because of the RFQ, you just kind of go through, but the procurement specifically states what our goals are, so.
Mm,
Alright, we good?
we
We good?
no,
Mr. Chair, I will,
I would like for the finance committee to consider moving their meeting to the 20th
Of.
November.
well, the
From the
the
10th of
procurement isn't due.
Oh, wait a
until
minute, no, I'm sorry. I thought you said the 20th.
no. The finance and budget committee meeting is the 10th of
Oh,
December.
The procurement's due
The
on the
deadline for
21st.
procurement
Oh.
is Friday, the 21st.
I got it, okay.
Well, I'm happy to be early.
Okay, good. All right, no,
Then, Mr. Chair, I would like to move that we follow through with staff's recommendation that we put this draft RFQ on the street. We leave a cone of silence in. All responses are due back on by 5 o'clock on November 21st, I think is what it says in the procurement. And the finance committee, 2 p.m. on November 21st. Thank you very much. And that the finance committee will be provided all the responses, and we'll get together on December 10th at our regularly scheduled finance committee meeting to make a recommendation to the full board for decision on December 18th.
Second?
Did I check all this right? I just want to make sure I got all the boxes.
You can't remember.
Motion.
It is.
Probably not.
I move staff recommendation.
second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Or was there public, I'm sorry. Is there any public comment?
There's no public.
Now, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, by sign. Thank you so very much. All right, committee member comments. Seeing none, we are adjourned.